स्टार्ट कर दूं फिर मैं?
कर दिया
Mom, take it away.
All right. Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to another edition of Friday Hangout. And yes, we are here to discuss about cricket as we always do. And hope that you had a great week, guys. And if you remember, we met last week. We discussed a lot of cricket, and we discussed in length about the India-England series, which was supposed to get underway when we met last time. So the difference is that it has already began, and what a way to begin it. So I think the Indian batting has really come to the party in a way, and have posted a very big total in English conditions, which we didn't expect them to put on when we met last week. So I would love to know, what exactly our buddies think. Before we discuss in length of what we're going to talk about today, let me quickly introduce to you the buddies which we have with us. To my extreme left, I have Amartya. Hi Amartya, how are you doing, buddy?
Hi Imam, how have you been? I'm good.
Good. So I think you will be even more good or happy with the way Indian team is playing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I was waiting for Friday to come that I'll go on the hangout and I'll be able to express my views. So, the way they batted yesterday, posting 457 is in the first match. When we went back in 2011, we didn't even cross that 300 mark. So, yesterday, when we crossed the 450 mark, it was like really good.
Absolutely, yes. The smile is back on Amartya's face, which is really nice to see. And there is a person who's smiling right now. If you see, he's always smiling and he's always pleasant. And we are delighted to have Pankaj on the show. Pankaj, namaskar. कैसे हैं आप? Thank you so much
बहुत
for
बढ़िया
joining in.
इमाम, बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत अच्छा हूँ मैं. Feeling a lot better from the time we last met,
Yes.
the previous hangout. So hopefully I'll be perfect in a couple of days. Moving on to cricket, Imam. I mean, your introduction was fantastic, and Amartya, thanks for the great insight about those 300 run thing and us scoring 450. But Imam, if you remember, just before we went live, you and I were having this discussion, and I was telling you that yes, I'm in a way I'm pleased that yes, 450 is great and a first test, which is probably has been the pain in the ass, so to speak, for Indian teams when they're touring. Making sure that they draw if not win. So 450 kind of ensures that we might not lose, but it's a placid wicket. So I'm not exactly happy and thrilled. I'm very happy for Shami and Bhuvi, obviously, because they stood their ground, applied themselves. The fact that not only they scored 50 each and they got India past 400, then 450 subsequently, but they applied themselves very well. They looked like batsmen, especially Bhuvi. And yeah, so it's great, but I'm not very excited because, as I was telling you, Imam, I see this going towards a draw because I don't see neither of the bowling lineups have the ability to probably take 20 wickets on this sort of track. So, uh, yeah, I'm happy for India, but not excited for the test match because I see where it's headed.
All right. I think makes a lot of sense in whatever you said, Pankaj, and thank you so much for your views and covering up the first half in which that was my first question, and I think you read my mind and you answered it before I asked you. So Amartya, my question to you is that Indian team, as always, let's go back to previous years. Whenever we toured England, the first Test match we always faced wicket with a lot of green grass, overhead conditions. Of course, that is not in ECB's hand, but that is how most of the time you have clouds in England. But if you see, the pitch is something which has always favored the seamers because everybody, the entire world knows that Indian team is not that great facing fast bowling, seaming conditions. So my question to you, Amartya, is what do you really think is the reason behind this kind of a track? And before you say, give your comments, one quick thing, guys, just for the benefits of the viewers, Jimmy Neesham made a very interesting tweet yesterday. He said that I know for a fact that Indian team has a lot of resources in terms of players which can go to England, but I never thought that they can take the pitch along with them. So that is what he tweeted last night. So Amartya, what are your views, and what do you think made this change of mind, or what is the reason for this kind of a track? Amartya, can you
Imam,
hear
as
me?
you know, that India is
Yeah.
always great on the sub. Yeah, absolutely. Imam, as you know that India has always been great on the green tracks or on the subcontinent track, and nobody can really beat us when they come to subcontinent. And when we go abroad, the wickets are seaming and swinging conditions, and Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad, they all are very benefited. If you remember the last time we went there, but this time there was a green track. And Imam, the thing that I want to mention out here is that England lack a quality spinner. You don't have a Graham Swan, you don't have a Monty Panes at this time. When you have a green service, you know that you will say that we have a Moeen Ali, but Moeen Ali, he doesn't add to the table that much. Maybe Moeen Ali can come and bowl 20 overs or something, maybe 25 overs, but he doesn't contribute that much. He's more of an attacking option. So I really see if there was a green track, that Broad and Jimmy Anderson weren't that productive. But if you're talking about India's batting performance, I think that it wasn't great. You see, we scored 357 for 9. It was the last wicket that added 100 runs. So, Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Mohammad Shami, if they had not batted for another 100 runs, I think that we would have been short of 50, 60 runs. So, green track didn't benefit us so much. And the other thing that I just said is the lack of a quality spinner in the England team.
Mhm. Right, and I think a great point which you made there, Amartya. Also, the fact that this kind of a track doesn't make a lot of sense, as you said. If they had a Graham Swan in this team or a Monty Panesar for that fact, they could have had this kind of a track, hope to win the toss and bat first, and use the spin against India. Because when Monty Panesar last played against India, he created havoc, and he literally stole the Test series single-handedly, and England won a Test series in India after a very long time. If you remember, that's a pain in the heart when I speak about it. So I think it's a great time, and England are saying themselves, isn't it, Pankaj? Come on, take the revenge. We have no issues. We will give you this kind of a track. We will not play a spinner, and our seamers are not that hard to play. You have Liam Plunkett bowling around the wicket, taking away all the options of getting out apart from caught behind. So, Pankaj, literally the tactics which the England players are coming out with, the think tank of the England cricket team. I really want to know from you what exactly is wrong with them, because is that the fact that they lost to Sri Lanka recently, or is it that Peter Moores has come in and taken away all their correct plans what Andy Flower used to prepare?
Okay. To begin with, I just want to go back to something that Amartya mentioned.
Sure.
Uh, the 300 run thing that we were not even able to cross that barrier. Imam, I'm sure that you've looked at the match closely, and if you see, had it been a green top, I don't think that we would have crossed 300 even now. Because apart from Murli Vijay, who's the only batsman who saw through two new balls comfortably. He looked at ease. He looked comfortable. He was playing, just very fluidly. He looked at peace in England. Apart from Murli Vijay, I think everybody else struggled. I want to give credit to MS for the fact that he hung in there. And if you saw Martha and Imam, usually outside the Ostam over pitch, Dhoni would go for it every single time in any other format. But this time around, he was making the conscious effort to let the balls go. So it was nice to see that. So, the word that the commentators were using so often was that he's grinding it out. So it was very nice to see that. But had it been a green top with that kind of movement, overcast conditions, I don't think that would have happened. And I don't think that we would cross 300 in that scenario. But having said that, it's a different sort of wicket. We've gone past 450. You asked Amartya this question that why is this so? Why is England doing this favor to India? Uh, I was reading and I just came across a few things that in England, a lot of these grounds, they have made these stadiums, these grounds, especially for Test cricket. And what is happening is every time there is a tour where teams are coming in to England to play them, they have this bidding going on. Where each stadium is bidding against the other for the right to host these matches, and it's an expensive affair. People are paying in good monies to come in there. The stadium guys want to ensure that the matches happen for 5 days. And if you give them green tops, touring countries, touring teams might not be able to survive more than 3.5 days, which we've seen in the past. So it's a loss to it's a commercial loss to the stadiums as well. So maybe that is a fact. I'm not saying I'm not attributing this entire thing to that, but I'm sure it has a huge role to play, and hence these kind of wickets, which kind of ensure that the game will go on till 5 over. The people who paid in good monies would get to watch their cricketers at least twice. Mostly people coming for the batting. I would in England, I would go for the bowling, but as we all know, Imam, it's the batsmen who bring in the crowd. So I think that plays a huge role here. But as just an Indian fan, I'm not complaining. At least in our records, things will change drastically. For Dhoni, I'm very happy that he will come back probably with the drawn series. And if these are the kind of wickets which we get in all tests, it might be uh, it all I see all tests being drawn. Yeah, there you have it. Imam, you muted, I think. Yeah.
What is happening? My computer is acting a bit funny, so my apologies, guys. So Pankaj has made a big call there, guys. He says that most of the all the test matches will be drawn, but
No,
it's quite interesting.
Imam, you gotta keep that in consideration that if all the pitches in the next
Okay.
four tests as well is this are similar to this one, then I see probably everything drawn. Yeah.
Perfect. The reason why I said that, Pankaj, is the second test match is happening at Lords. We all know what placid wicket Lords is producing for the last few years. Then the next match is happening at Southampton, where it rains. Again, it is happening in Old Trafford, where it rains. And then they are back to Oval, which is a fantastic batting track. So, all in all, if it's a drawn series, guys, I'm sure most of us who's watching this show and the hardcore Indian fans will not be complaining, as Pankaj said, because at the end of the day, we have been bruised and battered whenever we went to England and Australia, beaten, got white washes. But if we can come out with a drawn series, just imagine the kind of confidence the fast, the batsmen will have, because the Virat Kohli, the Cheteshwar Pujaras, and Murli Vijay's. But my question to you, Amartya, will be back to the batting department. Yes, we scored 441. We're looking at the brighter side, but let's talk about a bit a murkier side, which I saw in this first test. If you see, I think we're lucky that Murli Vijay went on to score that 146 runs, and he applied himself beautifully. But if you see the likes of Pujara, last week when we met, guys, let's just to refresh your memories, we picked Pujara, we picked
Right.
Virat Kohli, we picked Rahane to be the top scorers. No one gave a chance to Murli Vijay. No one gave a chance to Shikhar Dhawan. Who didn't give a chance to Shikhar Dhawan? They were right, because he didn't score any which ways. But the fact that Murli Vijay surprised everybody. And Amartya, my question to you, to add it on top of the question which I already asked, is about Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Pankaj rightly mentioned about his weakness towards outside off stump, going after deliveries. Even yesterday he nicked one, got lucky, and got dropped by Matt Pryor. So, are you convinced with MS's batting skills after looking at him in the first innings yesterday? And your thoughts about Pujara and Kohli and Rahane for not cashing in on this fantastic batting track?
Yeah, Ma'am, as you just rightly said, that it was a fantastic batting wicket, and England were lacking a good bowling attack. So it was a chance for Pujara, it was a good chance for Kohli to get in there and get some run under the belt. But having said that, Pujara immediately got out after the lunch session that happened. So I think that he couldn't get himself in there, and he couldn't just spend the quality time. Having said that, I think the Murli Vijay yesterday and day before, he was just fantastic. I mean, everybody was there questioning his technique. Everybody was just saying that he's good on the subcontinent track. He's just into the team because he has got two consecutive 150s against the touring Australian team. But then, if you remember, he scored a 97 in South Africa. That I think that would have increased the hunger in him to go and perform and get some run under his belt in abroad conditions. When he went yesterday, I think that he saw off, as you just rightly said, that he saw off the two new balls brilliantly. And coming back to MS Dhoni, I think that yesterday, I think he had to come out there and he had to, lead his team from the front. A captain has to be always there in front, and he has to lead the team with his complete effort. So as Pankaj rightly said about his technique against the ball pitching up into the offside, and yesterday there was a clip being shown while he was batting that he has got out maximum of the times in slip and behind the wicket, between the wicket keeper and the slip fielders. So Matt Pratt dropped him at 50, but nothing can be taken away. He was very quick on the first day of the game and he batted brilliantly. So having said that, I think that Pujara, Rahane, and Kohli are the three pillars that we have in the Indian team as of now. I think that if given time, they will really bounce back.
Perfect. I think very well made points there, Amartya. And guys, you might be wondering what exactly Amartya is talking about, the caught behinds and what reason might be. None of us here are cricket gurus in technical aspect. But just to give you a bit of a heads up, what happens when Mahendra Singh Dhoni goes to for that shot? He has his entire weight, on the back foot, and there's a ball which is pitched up, and he's trying to drive it without any feet movement. So what happens is that you don't get to the pitch of the ball. 9 times out of 10, you get caught behind in the slips because you don't have the weight towards or the foot towards the ball. That is what is happening. And I think this is not the right time for Mahendra Singh Dhoni to be told by someone, you know what, MS, this is not how it works. You have to get your front foot to the pitch of the ball. That is something which we do in our basics when we grow up. But look at the kind of track record which MS has. I don't think anyone can walk up to MS and say, you know what, this is what is not happening. I think this is how he plays unorthodox cricket, and that is how he's successful. But okay, let's deviate our attention slightly from MS Dhoni. And
Imam, before you
yeah, yeah,
we get from MS, I want to get your views on MS's batting yesterday with the kind of effort that he showed. Were you happy with it? Because he was struggling. That 80, whatever he scored, was not his finest 80 that he scored, right? So I just want to hear from you. What did you think of his application?
sure. Well, actually, Pankaj, in one of the movies, there is a dialogue that, "Arey yaar, tu दिमाग से काम ले," and the guy says, "दिमाग से काम लेना मेरा काम नहीं है." So that is what MS does. MS doesn't have that. If you tell him apply yourself, play 3-4 hours, that is not his game. You're asking him to do something which he's not. That is not his forte. So I think I love the way MS applied himself. Having said that, because the situation was that if he would have got out, then the rest of the batting is not that great. You had a Stuart Binney who failed eventually. We didn't know how he will perform. But if the fact that now Dhoni scored that 86 or 85 runs gave India the impetus to get to the target where we can feel safe for the moment. So I think I'm delighted to see Mahendra Singh Dhoni bat that way. But to be very honest, yesterday he survived Pankaj because there's not a lot of seam movement. If there is seam movement, if there is a pitch which we know the English curators can prepare, then what I would say is Mahendra Singh Dhoni just should play his game. Don't worry about getting caught behind in the slips. Don't worry about applying yourself because any which ways he'll nick one, he'll get out. So instead of that, go after the bowling, play your game. If you can get 50, 60, nothing like it. But if you fail, then hard luck.
I agree completely, Imam. Because see, I want to keep in perspective these four top performances. Murli Vijay's, MS's, and obviously these two aren't batsmen of repute, but still they contributed big time in India's getting over the 400 mark. Shami and Bhuvi. Had it been a different sort of wicket, the kind that we're used to in England, I don't think. First of all, Bhuvi and Shami, forget about it. I mean, no, that's not even a question. Right? That's not even in the fray. But MS would have struggled big time, and I completely agree with you, Imam, on the fact when you say that if it's that kind of typical England seeming and moving track, he should just play his natural game and just hope for the best. I'm not saying that he should just go blindfold and just go haywire. He should just play his normal game. If it's there to be hit, he should just go after it as he usually does. And Murli Vijay, I'm very happy for him because I had almost written him off, saying that because I personally didn't, I'm not very excited. He has this lazy elegance, which is nice to watch, something similar to Mark Waugh of the yesteryears, which is nice to see. But he's never inspired faith in me, as I have said, innumerable times. But I'm very happy for him. But I would love to see a green top at the risk of India losing that test match. But it makes it exciting because India is then tested. And let's not forget, this is a test match. So, if you're not giving the true conditions and home advantage to the home side, then what is the point of all this? Then it's just an exercise, just to get, have tests being played in different venues, which is not my kind of cricket. If it's test match, people need to be tested. So, and Shikhar Dhawan, the way he failed at this kind of track is quite sad to see. So I would not be surprised that if you give slight advantage to England, Shikhar, I don't think he's going to have a good this series. But I'm a little scared, Imam, because you suddenly have put this fear in my head when you mentioned two locations where it rains. Okay, and if it rains or if it's cloudy and overcast, then you know what can happen and what Jimmy can do, and Stuart Broad will have his tail up, right? So I'm a little scared that if these two, if they get the kind of condition they're looking for, and after looking at this pitch, the curator of those two grounds gives a little edge to the English bowlers, then then I think as a viewer I'm in for a treat, but as an Indian fan, oh, we might be in trouble.
Perfect. I'm glad that you mentioned that point, Pankaj, and that is what my next question was in a way. Amartya, Pankaj spoke about Southampton and Old Trafford are the grounds which I was talking about, where it rains a lot of time and it is cloudy, murky, and you have a pitch which assists fast bowlers. But Amartya, do you think that Shami and Bhuvi will also cherish those kind of conditions because their strength is seam movement. They do not have pace. Let's be very clear about it. They will not get the batsman out with their pace, with bouncers and playing a batsman fending out. That is not going to happen with our bowlers. So the only chance for us is to have conditions like those, and where Bhuvi can pitch the ball and the beautiful seam movement away from the right hander into the right hander, and same goes for Shami who gets the movement out of the pitch. Do you think England would be at risk, and that is might one be the reason for having this kind of a track in the first Test match? So do you think England are a bit wary about our fast bowlers as well, Amartya?
Yes, Imam, as you just rightly said, I think that I would agree with that point out there because Pankaj had made a very valid point out there. I think that Pankaj has said that the English bowlers will be at advantage because I think that Indian bowlers lack experience in bowling in English wickets, and especially when it rains, as you just rightly said, that Bhuvneshwar Kumar can just swing the ball in both the directions. Mohammad Shami can pitch it up and get the ball swinging. But when it rains, especially in the English summer, because these two bowlers are not habituated to it, and the bowler who has bowled there before is Ishant Sharma, and he is not a big swinger of the ball. So, as Pankaj rightly said, the Jimmy Anderson can just get the ball going along with Stuart Broad, and that might just get us into trouble. And I mean that as far as this Test match is concerned, I think that this is a green top. You might remember that there was a A versus England when they came to India, and we actually played no spinners in that. And there was a Yuvraj Singh who came on and he picked up 5 wickets in that match. So what we were trying to do is not give England a good match practice against the spinners. So that may be a strategy. I don't know whether it's a strategy or not naturally, but it may be a strategy that giving first test on a green top, and then, as you just rightly said, the test after the Lords when it rains, it might just get us into trouble.
Okay, perfect. And thank you so much about that. I think very valid thoughts there. Pankaj, I want to get back to England team. I think we've spoken in length about what the Indian team did and what they could have done and the team combination. I just want to get your views about the English team's performance with regards to how they bowled at the tail. 347 for 9 is what India were at one stage, and all of us were like, okay, here we go again, same old story. We performed so well, and we flattered to deceive. And the fact that we added 100 runs and have put us into such a strong position, but somewhere that strong position is credited to England's bowling or tactics. What do you make up of Alastair Cook's thinking and strategy and the English bowling to the tail?
Absolute rubbish. Alistair Cook's captaincy, that's what I have to say. I'm not happy with Alistair Cook. I actually expected a lot more from Cook's captaincy because he's a decent bloke here, and he's not a bad captain. He's just had a few bad series, so to speak. So I was hoping that he would come back strong with a lot of planning. It's not he doesn't have to do this all by himself, right? He has this entire support of his team, strategists, coaches, managers, whatever, people with a lot of international experience. So I thought he's going to come out with a plan for everyone, which is the way to go about in professional sport, any sport. So, but that was lacking. But then there is only so much that a captain can do if he's not getting enough from from the rest of the team, right? And the biggest thing that I was angry was lack of heart from the English bowlers towards the end. I mean, they were just hoping that something would happen. They would play, either Shami or Bhuvi would play a rash shot and they would get out. There was no intent, and which was sad to see because when there is tail ender, no matter which team what teams are playing, every time there's a tail ender, the bowlers have the tail up and there are bouncers. I know it's a placid track, but still, bowling up, making sure they play with the bat, a lot of effort, field placements. According to, suddenly I felt that Cook was treating them like batsmen. Yes, okay, fine, it was a placid track, but so what? I mean, he it just, and the fact that Alastair Cook was treating them like a batsman, both of these guys actually look like one. I was a little confused. Looking, see, Bhuvi has played enough for UP. He comes and plays anywhere between 4 and 6 for UP, and they trust him a lot. So I know I've seen enough of Bhuvi as a batsman as well to know that he has capability, right? So he's no mug with the bat, as they say. But Shami, I mean, making Mohammad Shami look like a batsman, that is just ridiculous, man. And I couldn't believe that Alastair Cook was okay with that. Yes, he gave a few chances here and there, but some of the shots were spectacular by Shami. I mean, I would never have imagined Mohammad Shami to play those kind of shots, and it was made possible by Alastair Cook's captaincy, and on top of that, lack of heart from the bowlers, except for one guy, the tall fellow who kept bouncing Shami. He had a plan. He came up with a plan. He tried something. It didn't work, yes, but he kept trying. So that he showed a little bit of heart. But Stuart Broad and the rest of the guys, nothing. I was just pathetic.
Well, I think it was so pathetic, Pankaj. On day one, what happened was that England were getting into overtime in terms of completing their overs, and fast bowlers were running back to their mark and completing the overs because Cook is already serving a warning from the ICC. So another mistake, and he is out for a test match. Yesterday, I think wantedly, the English bowlers bowling a bit slowly because they wanted Cook to be out of the next test match because literally they cannot drag him. The selectors cannot put him out of the second test match. So the fast bowlers had this scheme. They were bowling a bit slowly and they were allowing the batting to go on for a long time. And at the end of the day, it happened. So I think that it's getting to that stage where the English bowlers themselves are not too happy with Alastair Cook. And Amartya, let me ask you a very tough question here for the English fans. If you're an English fan or an English, let me turn it around. You're an English selector, and this series ends up to be a drawn series, as Pankaj said, 1-1 or 2-2 or 0-0. Would you retain Alastair Cook as a captain? If not, in the present scenario, who do you think has the mettle to take over and do well? And Amartya, before you could answer that, I guess we've been joined by Keshav, who might make an appearance. And guys, for the entire audience, it's Keshav's birthday today, so the birthday boy has just joined us. Wish you a very happy birthday, my musician.
Yay.
How are you doing?
Thanks a lot,
Happy
Imam.
birthday, Keshav.
Thanks, Pankaj.
Okay.
I think this is my
Happy birthday,
first
Keshav.
birthday on a. Thanks.
Where is the cake? Cake kidhar hai?
I just woke up at 2, so I'm yet to have my cake. की बात है.
Okay, so, but guys, Keshav, we were discussing in length. We were discussing about the India England series. I think you would be also quite happy with the way we are in terms of. First of all, would be delighted to see MS getting 85 after the conversation which we had last week and question marks about his batting abilities. But as an Indian fan, what are your comments about the first Test match, and where do you see this match going? That is what we were basically discussing. So, go on, your thoughts, please.
Yeah, I first of all, I was very happy with the way Murli Vijay performed, because more than Dhoni, I think some people were criticizing him a lot for over the years. Although his record isn't that great, he averages around mid 30s or late 30s, and normally a good Indian batting lineup, when you see it, will averages around 50 or more than that. So keeping that in mind, the way he performed in English conditions, though the conditions were not too much of a difference than
They
Indian
weren't.
conditions, but yeah, yeah.
Go on, Keshav.
Yeah, so I was saying, I was happy with the way he played, because we actually sort of were expected Chiteshwar Pujara and Kohli to hit runs, but they didn't do it, and the people whom we didn't expect from, they did it. So it's a positive sign, because people like Pujara and Kohli are pretty much consistent players. So we know that one or two innings they might fail, but they surely would make runs. So if they are also, the other people are also making runs, so it's a pretty good sign for India. And apart from that, MS Dhoni is, as far as he's concerned, I would have been much happier if he would have got that 100. But anyway, he played his
But
part. He played
but
it
but
very.
Keshav, that would have been another 100 in Indian conditions, right?
Yeah, technically, it's being played in England, so it would still have been considered overseas, outside in the continent. And he played his part. He played very positive cricket, and he sort of counter-attacked England when India lost Ajinkya Rahane. So, and a lot of credit has to be given to the tailenders also, because those 100 runs are very important. If we would have got all out on 350, probably England would have sort of taken it a little too lightly, and I don't think then Alastair Cook would be under this much pressure, because almost 2.5 hours the two tailenders made them work hard in the field. So that speaks a lot in itself. So yeah, as of now I'm happy, but I still can't see a result in this match. I still see a possible draw here. So let's see, fingers crossed. But as a birthday boy, I would still say it's my birthday, so I would like India to give me a present as a win.
Fantastic. I think it will be delighted. It'll be one such birthday which all of us will celebrate if that happens, Keshav. And just to give you a bit of a heads up, guys, the audience who are watching it, MS Dhoni, as Keshav said, missed out on a century yesterday, and he was run out by James Anderson. And a bit of a trivia which I want to tell you is that in Nagpur, when England came to India and Dhoni was in a similar score, Anderson got him run out at that point as well. So I think there is something between Anderson,
Imam, I
Dhoni,
just want
and
to ask you that
Sure.
when Jimmy got Dhoni out in India, run out, was that run as unnecessary as this one in England that Mahi went for?
Yes, yes, because he had Virat just got out then, and he had Ashwin for company. But again, at the end of the day, he could have done away with that single.
And I remember he was on 99 actually.
Yeah. So getting run out like that is really unnecessary in Test match. Getting run out is unnecessary in any format to begin with,
No,
but in Test match,
yeah, Imam, it seemed like a brain freeze moment of Mahi because he reads the game so well. He reads the situation so well, and at a critical juncture, you didn't expect that. Because obviously, new batsman in, you don't want him to face 5 balls, right? Against such bowling. So ideally, he should have taken 3 balls, maybe a single on the fourth ball or something like that. And such a tight run, it just, I mean, I couldn't make any sense out.
well, I think if I can say this, I think there is a slight bit of overconfidence from Dhoni when it comes to running between the wickets. I think he thinks he's quick, which he is, but the fact is that the fielders are also are, and the ball travels a lot faster than what the field does. So I think he has to keep that in mind as we go along, and I hope for our sake that he never gets run out because he's too good of a player
Yeah,
to get run
maybe,
out like
yeah,
that.
yeah, maybe उसने दूध पीना बंद कर दिया धोनी ने. Maybe he needs to go back to drinking those 4 liters a day kinds. I don't know.
So I think that'll be good for even the young children who are watching, who are his admirers. they can also have a lot of milk. He should start doing that so he doesn't get run out.
Guys,
All right.
Imam, I apologize. I have to apologize
Sure.
here because I have to leave. I have an engagement that I have to get to. So, great fun, guys. Thank you, Imam. Thank you, Keshav and Amartya. I'll see you guys very soon. Yeah. Cheers. Have fun, guys.
Thanks.
So,
Okay. So, yes, the point was, guys, and Keshav, I was just checking with Amartya, before you just joined in, my question was to Amartya that Alistair Cook's captaincy, having seen what he has done so far, and the fact that he was, if you see number 10 and 11 went on to add 100 runs, his captaincy and his batting. So, do you think, Amartya, my question to you again is, will they be able to continue with Alistair Cook? And if not, who is your option?
Yes, Imam, thank you for making me the English selector that you put on in the last question. Anyways, coming back to your question, I think that, Imam, what you said that English selectors have always been harsh, I think that Alastair Cook is a very good batsman and he was a very good leader, coming to India and beating India by 3-0, and it was really good. But coming back to your question, I think that he has had some series losses consecutively. He lost the Ashes and then he lost the Sri Lanka series. The Sri Lanka series, the problem was I think that it was getting to a tie, but in the last two deliveries, if you just remember, Jimmy Anderson just nicked the ball and it went to the slips, and it was also heading to a tie. So maybe yesterday he was over defensive. He could have attacked a bit, and especially as you and Pankaj rightly mentioned when he was on air, that he could have attacked, and you could have just gone up, the bowlers could have gone up and could have said a word or two, and they could have just attacked, showed some aggression, but it wasn't the case. And I think that as you just rightly said, that they were treating them as batsmen. We can actually talk about Bhuvneshwar Kumar getting some runs under his belt because he has a first class century, but that was totally other conditions. And Mohammad Shami coming on and getting a 50 as well. Imam, I think that England has been always harsh. Maybe Alistair Cooks needs to resolve something. And I think that when a batsman is not going through a good phase and then he's leading the side as well, it somehow reflects the team. Dhoni got an 82, and in the innings, you may just notice that he'll be on ease and he'll be good. He'll have the confidence and he'll go with the team. So I think that Cook is under pressure, and in the next, if this is a tie, he will have a lot of pressure under him. So moving on, just I think that the English selectors will be harsh on him maybe because they are known to be harsh. They have sacked Andy Flower, they just sacked Kevin Peterson. So if Alistair Cook is sacked all of a sudden, it won't be surprising.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Amartya. But you didn't tell me who will you, if you are given an option, whom will you replace Cook with?
I would like to replace him with, I don't know actually. I'd like to go with Ian Bell.
Oh, fantastic. That's I wanted to know, get a name from you. Thank you so much, Keshav. I know, whenever I'm going back to Keshav, I'm just thinking of the cake and the things which are going to come from Keshav and the gifts which are going to go to Keshav from us.
Just before you say that, I just forgot to tell him, Keshav's wishing you a very happy birthday, and I was really glad to see the parrots that you have got. He has got a couple of parrots. He posted a picture on Facebook.
Yeah, thanks
Yes.
a lot. But
Yes.
actually, I've got more criticism for that. People are saying, it's not a good thing to put birds in cage and all. Uh, so,
Yeah, the PETA may just come in and they may just attack you. But
yeah.
All right. See, guys, again we are going digressing. Yes, Keshav's the birthday boy. My question to you will be, Amartya has picked Ian Bell to get as a replacement for Cook. So first of all, your thoughts, Keshav, about the enigma called Murli Vijay. I think we also spent a lot of time talking about him, and I think it's only fair if you speak about him as well. What do you think about Murli Vijay's performance and also Cook's captaincy? यार हो क्या गया है उसको? उसका दिमाग ठीक नहीं चल रहा है क्या?
See, I think Cook's captaincy, he has been criticized a hell lot. recently by Shane Warne and even Ian Chappell and a lot of other people. Because someone who had started with so much of a success in his initial period of captaincy. He won it in India single-handedly. He scored 3 centuries there. Even when England were one down in this series, actually it's a big deal. It's equally winning an Ashes for them. Defeating India and India, and after that, defeated Australia in England 3-0 last year. So he had started on a pretty good note, and he was scoring runs. He had scored already 7 centuries when he became captain in his 12 or 13 Test matches. So everything was going like a fairy tale, but suddenly all these things happening, with Trott gone, Swan gone, Peterson gone. So I think that pressure he couldn't really take up, and he didn't really cope up the way he should have been, because England actually lacks qualities, and when Swan was there, every time Cook knew, that whenever I need a wicket, whenever I'm stuck anywhere, I can call him, and he's a breakthrough guy for me. He can get me wickets. But now it, it seems as if his mind has stopped working. He is reluctant to go to Moeen Ali because he gets for so much of runs. And as far as batting is concerned, obviously when people are criticizing him so much, you tend to think too much. You tend to think while batting also, that I have to score runs. If I fail again, people criticize me, or everything would go bad. So when you have so much of pressure inside your head, you sort of something forget the basics and try to try too much of things, which is not a good thing. And I think he's not a born captain. So some people are born for captaincy, like MS Dhoni, Saurav Ganguly, or even if you talk about England, people like Michael Vaughan or Nasir Hussain. I don't really rate Andrew Strauss as high as a captain. He was more or less similar as a Cook, but he had those players who really he can depend upon. So I think it won't be a bad idea if they sack Cook as a captain, and I would love to see someone like a Joe Root to be a captain. Because if you see teams like South Africa and New Zealand, they made Graham Smith captain in a very young age, and it really worked wonders for them. He's an aggressive chap. This guy Joe Root, and he scores runs very consistently. He's a permanent guy in all the formats. So I think it would be a great idea to make someone like this a captain and invest in his future. Ian Bell is 32, 33. There's no use of making another captain for just 2 years and change them. So yeah. And apart from that, Murali Vijay, I have already told you I'm really happy with his performance. And if someone now gets replaced by Gautam Gambhir, it should be Shikhar Dhawan and absolutely not Murali Vijay.
Perfect. I think
Imam, if I just could,
yeah, Martin.
yeah, Imam, I just have a question that we were discussing off air about Stuart Binney, the position of Stuart Binney. So I'd like to get your thoughts actually, because we couldn't finish the conversation then. So
Yes.
Imam, Stuart Binney coming into the Indian team in place of Ravichandran Ashwin, playing at number 8. It's not justified. I think he was. I think that he's playing as a bowling all-rounder because England is a swinging, and yeah, he can just get the ball swing and seam a bit. But I think that playing him at number 8 won't Ravichandran Ashwin be a bit more comfortable at number 8 position. I mean that if you are playing Stuart Binney, you stand Jadeja ahead of Stuart Binney. So Stuart Binney was making a debut, as you just rightly said that maybe that Dhoni doesn't have the confidence in him. So the question to you is that in the next Test match, I know that it's just 2 days and Binney hasn't bowled properly, but if you're going in the second Test match, would you go with Stuart Binney? And if you're going with Stuart Binney, at which position will you play him?
Correct. Amartya, completely agree with you, and I completely agree with the fact that it's going to be the confidence factor comes in there. Somehow MS doesn't have that faith in Binney's ability. And to answer your question, if you are playing at Lords, which we are playing at Lords the second Test match, if it is sunny and it's sunny on the day of the toss, I will not be surprised if MS picks Ashwin ahead of Stuart Binney and gives them a break again, as he did when he played his first one-day international. He used him for 1 over. Binney didn't get to bat, and he was out of the next one-day international. So I think this debut was something which which did not make a lot of sense to me. But the fact that they have now picked Binney, I think they have to back him. He has to get enough chances with the ball, because with the bat he did not do much. So I think he should be bowling a lot in this test match. He will get a lot of chance because it's a flat track. You need bowlers. You need bowlers to put their hand up and say, I want to bowl. So I think Stuart Binney can be used as one of the bowlers, and we do not have any other spinner in the team apart from Murli Vijay, who bowls really, really rarely. So I think, yes, I completely agree with you. Binney's inclusion did not make a lot of sense on this pitch. Yes, if it was in Southampton or Old Trafford, where it is a grassy kind of a track, then I would definitely would have had Stuart Binney in the team. So
I think that Imam, maybe the 81 that he got in the practice match, maybe, and a couple of wickets that he got, maybe that was the reason to bring him in.
Well, to be very honest, Amartya, if that was the case, then Gambhir should have been in the team as well, because Gambhir played really well in that practice game. I think practice game are more towards to get a feel of the conditions. I don't think that 81 should have impacted Dhoni's choice for him at number 7. If 81 would have impacted, then Dhoni would have played Stuart Binney at 7 rather than pushing him to number 8. So I think the fact that he came at number 8, those 81 runs did not contribute to his selection. If his 2 wickets did, then I think it will be really, really surprising, because a lot of other bowlers also did well. Pankaj Singh also got a couple of wickets. So I think the team should be selected based clearly on your strength. I don't think you should play a seamer just for the sake of it. If your strength is spin, play spin. The great Australian teams used to pick fast bowlers and play in India and used to win test matches here. They never played 2-3 spinners in the team. They played a Shane Warne, the other 3 seamers were there, and they used to get the wickets, and that is how they always went about doing things. Right, I think we are almost out of time. Keshav, before we call it hangout for today's meet, can you let us know your thoughts about Stuart Binney and his selection in the team? Keshav, you're muted, buddy.
Yeah, sorry. So I think on this pitch probably Chandra Ashwin could have been a better choice over Stuart Binney, because this pitch doesn't really have anything for fast bowlers, and he's not even a completely fast bowler. He bowls those medium pacers, military pace bowler. So I think there would be pitches, and there would be venues where his type of bowling would suit more. So hopefully there he can have some fruitful, he can have some fruitful experiences there. But on this pitch, I don't really think it's gonna be a much use, and he just threw away his batting chance. The rash shot he did and got out on 1 or something. So yeah, as of now, that his selection isn't really justified as people were expecting. But hopefully, let's see. It's cricket. It's game of uncertainty, so anything can happen.
Very well said. I think that's why we love this game, Keshav. All of us love this because of the uncertainty, and as you rightly said it initially, that we really hope that Indian team wins this test match. I just had a look, peeped into the television a few seconds ago, and it's looking gloomy today. So it was good for the bowlers, but again it might rain as well. So and on that note, I think it's time to call it a hangout for today. So thank you so much, Amartya, first of all, for joining us and sharing your insights. Thank you so much, buddy.
It's a pleasure, Imam. Thank you for having me.
And Keshav.
Yeah, man.
It's always a pleasure. And Keshav, my dear friend, it's your birthday. I'm so delighted, and I just hope that you have a great rest of your day. I know you just got up a few minutes ago, so I think a lot of day of a hard party today, and you deserve the best in life. And thank you so much to have joined us today as well.
Thanks a lot, man. And it's for the love of cricket only that birthday hote hue I came for this hangout. So
really
that speaks in itself.
Absolutely. We always know how crazy you are about cricket as we are. So guys, you've seen what we discussed today. So we will see you next week right here on the hangout, and we wish to see you here as well. Please do join us, and like our cricket page on Facebook, and plus.google.com is what you have to enter, and you can also come in and participate as all of us do here. So thank you so much for Pankaj as well, who joined us a bit earlier. So ये वादे के साथ कि अगले हफ्ते यहीं मिलेंगे. Thank you so much for joining in. See you next week. Bye bye.